Yes, I felt my worst, absolute worst, when I looked like this with bicep veins, veins even come out of my abs. And I feel better with more body fat. And here's why that may not be crazy, honestly. I used to think I had to maintain under 15% body fat because shredded meant healthy, right? Shredded meant you're disciplined. Shredded meant you're winning at this fitness game. Especially as a fitness coach, you have this perception, expectation that you should look the part. And here's the thing, you can look the part without being shredded. Because the truth is, when I'm that lean, I feel like absolute crap. And here's why I actually feel better with a bit more fat on me. Okay. So let me take you back a few years. That picture was from 2023. And I've always kind of bounced around a little bit within reason. I'd get a little soft and then I'd dial it back in, get shredded, at least visually, with some visible abs, shirts fitting right. But under the hood, I'm a mess in that scenario. My sleep sucks. I get full blown insomnia at times. That's a non starter for my life. Mood tanks, hangry too often, right? Libido on vacation. And you're tracking, grinding, white knuckling my way to a number that truthfully wasn't built for me. And I realize that now. So what I've learned over the years, now that I'm 40, maybe you felt this too, is you buy into this belief that lower body fat equals better health. But what I've realized as a coach is there's no one size fits all body fat percentage. I have a coach in my inner circle who feels his best when he's lean like I am in those photos. He feels his worst when he's bulking, trying to put on muscle, and that's just the way his body operates best. Genetics matter. Set points matter to a degree. Some of us feel best at 20%-ish body fat, some better at 12, right? So research backs this up. Especially when it comes to longevity, living longer, the best range for body fat is around 20 to 25% for men, much higher than you'd think a fitness mag would show you. And women even potentially higher, like around 30% to 35%. Now, if you feel horrible at that range, then that's not the best number for you, but we're talking in averages today. Okay. It's not an excuse to let things slide either. Like there's obviously a point of diminishing returns, and the pendulum can swing too far. It's just a recalibration of what optimal really looks like, not for Instagram, but for your life. And there is a line where fat becomes too much, especially visceral fat around the organs. That's the stuff that raises disease risk, tanks energy, makes everyday life harder. But going too far to the other direction, if it's not serving you and you feel like you're feeling so restricted in your life and you're getting all these signs and symptoms that you're dieting too hard, that's when you should scale it back as well. I've learned this firsthand. Sub 15%, 10% body fat made me look good on camera, but 18 to 20%, I feel clear, strong. I have more cardio conditioning. Like for hockey, I don't tap out as early. Sleep's better. Hunger's more under control. I'm not obsessing over every gram of rice. And my body still moves well. Like I just had DEXA done, and what looks to be a fairly accurate scan is my biological age is 29 years old, so roughly 10 years younger than I am today, based off T-score, VO2 max, health markers in terms of blood work, and so on. Okay. So if you've been chasing a number that feels like a fight, maybe it's time to shift the target. Now, if you're obviously just getting started and your BMI, you're considered obese by all measures of BMI, body fat percentage, waist circumference, I'll put those numbers in the description, then yes, take care of this. Make it a priority because your life could potentially be at risk. But you can be fit and not miserable, and you can be lean enough and still feel amazing and have a balanced diet and enjoy nights out with the family and not feel like you have to pack Tupperware. That's what our Big Five framework is all about. If you want a copy of this little cheat sheet that goes through them, just message me the word guide and I'll send that over. Okay. So stop chasing what is breaking you. Start building a body, a life that actually works for you. Like that's really what it's all about. That's what I've done. I've never felt better than I do today, even though my body fat percentage is higher than it's been in a while. I've kind of stabilized here and I feel great. And that's ultimately where you need to figure out is where do you feel your absolute best? Fight to get there, then stabilize, sustain there. If you want to push harder for a photo shoot or to look the part for a while, by all means, it may serve you well. If you're like me though, it may get to a point where it's no longer worth, the juice is no longer worth the squeeze. And that is certainly important to figure out for yourself. Otherwise, this whole fitness thing no longer becomes a force multiplier that boosts your life, it takes away. And that's the balance to strike. All right, see you next time.